Hey, good morning, and welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 187. It's a Wednesday. This week's kind of gone kind of faster than what I had anticipated. I'm also excited about. I think Monday, I was in chipper spirits. My wife returned 2 weeks as a bachelor is a bit much. It was plus I've been like isolated. I was isolated for 2 weeks, so I didn't have much human interaction. So it's nice to have my wife back, and life is back to normal. Everything is, yeah, the world is in place. So I was a little chipper Monday, um, and the days I can tell are getting longer. Like after work, had to make a post office run, and it's still light, like the sun was out, so that was nice. But I did jinx myself, and I tend to do this, and Herman mentioned this, a while back when I jinxed myself over, I can't remember what, but I jinxed myself on Monday when I mentioned that we haven't had a bad winter. I mean, we've had more snow than usual, so but it hasn't been like a terrible, like, we were dumped on last week, at about a foot and a half of snow, in two storms, but the temperatures haven't been bad. Like, it wasn't like brutal to go out and shovel. I wasn't having to go out head to toe in gear and battle like sub-zero weather as I was out there. So I jinxed myself because we didn't have any below zero weather in January, which is usually when we get those like 10, 20 below zero days. After the show, at some point Monday morning, I looked at the forecast, and guess what? We've got a run on below zero weather. I think our low for Sunday is 17 below zero. So it's coming. And we got our first forecast for our next snowfall. Good morning, Zach. So we have another snowstorm coming in this week, and their first prediction, I think it's a couple days out still. So they usually don't predict the actual like estimates on snowfall for a couple days, until a couple days out. And it's 3 to 6 inches for our area. North, it's supposed to be a little worse up north. So just north of us, I think they're predicting like 5 to 8 inches, but we're like right on that 3 to 6 path. So we'll see. Along with below zero weather. So it looks like February is the new January. So we're going to see the sub-zero and snow this weekend, it looks like. So what I wanted to touch on today is PWE tracking update. So I've been playing around with it, and I did my first trial with it when it was released last week. Snow, I know, Brad, more snow coming, 3 to 6 more inches. And I actually, yesterday, I had that snow wall that I had to take down on Monday. And, and Zach, I know Zach can relate, because he's dealing with the same stuff. When you do the snow wall, it's like you shovel and you snow blow, and you feel like you've finished it. And then when you go back up and you look back down at the driveway, it's like the driveway seems to go like this at the end, because you're just plowing through, and you're not. So yesterday we had some sunshine all day yesterday, so that kind of loosened up the snow. So I went down to the bottom of the driveway and made that, a little wider, so it's like this now and not like this. So yeah, more snow. So the PWE tracking, there's some issues with it, and I played around with it initially. So my basic plan for PWE with tracking, like 80 to 90% of my shipments are PWE. Zach gets my shipments, and most of them are sent using this postage. I get these in bulk from my stamp guy, Carl. 38 cents per stamped envelope shipped for those. so I can keep those costs down, and that way I can actually list 99-cent cards with free shipping in my eBay store. If it wasn't for the savings on those stamps, if I was paying 51 cents or 55 cents, try to focus the camera, then I would not be able to offer, that 99-cent deal in my eBay store. It just wouldn't be worth it. But saving that additional 15, 20 cents per envelope allows me a little cushion to make it worthwhile and capture some of those bulk buys, people taking advantage of the 3 or more items and getting a little more per card sale on that. So Zach has a plow service as we have a long private gravel road leading to the actual driveway. Oh, nice. That's very nice. See, I live in just a regular old subdivision, and so I do the driveway, and then the city comes in and plows me in. So that's where I'm at. So with my PWE tracking, I'm going to continue utilizing this for the 99-cent sales. Try to get this camera to focus. And anything above $7.50 up to about $15, that's when I'll utilize PWE with tracking. So, and I actually did one this morning before the show. George, what's up? Good morning. I did one before the show. It was a couple heritage action variations. One was listed for $7.50. One was listed for $6. So the total sale $13.50. So in that case, I utilized PWE tracking. And that's 51 cents on the 1 ounce, 51 cents, 71 cents for 2 ounces, 91 cents for 3 ounces, as long as it's under a quarter of an inch thick. Dak T-Mac fan, good morning. 3rd morning in a row shoveling in Pittsburgh. Oh man, I've only had to do 2 in a row so far, a couple times, but I haven't hit the trifecta yet. So I tracked vigorously the first one just to see how it all worked. So it doesn't appear that, well, first of all, it's not a USPS service. It's a third-party software that is scanned at like each of the shipping centers or sorting facilities. Yes, it is wrong to say it's 65. Yeah, it is. Not wrong, just rude. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. My wife was in Florida for 2 weeks, so I was getting weather updates, sunny and 80 every day. So as I'm drenched in snow and sweat from shoveling the driveway and sidewalk. So I was tracking the envelope vigorously. It didn't update for like 4 days. It was in Milwaukee for 4 days. And then it finally just pinged delivered. So I've done several now, a couple dozen probably in the last week. I've seen a couple marked delivered, but I've seen somebody reached out to me on Twitter, said, hey, mine's showing delivered, but the guy reached out, said it's not delivered. I think he said he sent out about 100 PWE with tracking, and 3 of them were delivered, but the buyer did not receive them. So is this a case of deliveries being marked early? Because we've seen that, and I've actually had packages sent to me that are marked delivered by USPS tracking. Excuse me, tracking. But they actually are not delivered until the next day. So Dak T-Mac fan said eBay should have said not typical tracking and don't take to the counter at USPS and expect it to be scanned. Correct. Absolutely agree with that. Herman, good morning. Because a lot of people are taking it to the USPS counters, and the clerks are like, I have no idea what this is, because it's not a USPS. It's a deal with eBay and I guess, higher up USPS, and it's a tracking service that are used at like sorting facilities, not at like the actual post offices. and Herman, yeah, I was just going to get to, so Herman has one. So Herman reached out to me yesterday as well and said his was going to, I think, Wisconsin, and it's showing delivered in Eagan, Minnesota, which Eagan is a suburb of Minneapolis. So that's interesting. So I don't know what's going on with PWE tracking, and this is not an isolated issue to Herman or the other person that reached out on Twitter. The Blowout forums, several people there have also stated the same thing. It's being marked delivered, but it has not been delivered. So it seems to be a widespread issue. Early on in this rollout, somebody had used the term ambiguous, which is the perfect word for how eBay has rolled out PWE tracking. It's very ambiguous, and we won't know. It won't be clear to us. It's clear as mud right now. It won't be clear to us how this actually works until some of these issues are cleaned up and we actually have some successful deliveries and whatnot. I do know they're getting delivered because I've seen people post like, hey, here's my first item received with the PWE tracking. So it's just right now, it's just a big question mark. And what I told Herman last night is we're still covered as sellers. You're still covered. So Herman's package delivered in Minnesota, but it was supposed to go to Wisconsin. If if that happens, what I would suggest is, have the buyer open a claim through eBay that the item was not received. It has tracking, so the seller is covered. So eBay will cover you. So you're not out. That's basically the whole point of this service that eBay has rolled out. It's actually seller protection. We finally are getting seller protection after all these years. Where it's been on the buyer, where we're getting protection on PWE tracking, which kudos to eBay. Thank you so much. We're getting more protection on returns. So eBay is really, people are talking all kinds of smack on eBay, and that it's somebody reached out some egg on eBay with like following two people and followed by two people, probably all bots. Just opened a Twitter account to talk smack to people, said eBay's dead, eBay's dying. And it's like, no, eBay's actually, especially in the cart for trading cards, and this is only specific to trading cards. This isn't offered for other categories. This is trading card specific. And there were a lot of issues up until, 2021 with the returns and with, the option to have a economical way to send packages. So they're really helping out sellers here. So eBay is not dying. Some people are probably upset with managed payments, and hey, those are opinions. I like it. Some people don't. So the people are scanning the envelopes when they hit the truck, not the mailbox. And that's Brad, that's an excellent point. I think that's exactly what's happening. Because these scanners, from what I've read into the actual third-party company that USPS uses, these scanners are only at the facilities. So they're not at desk counters. They can't scan these in the office, in the post office. Your mailman in the truck can't scan these in the truck. So I didn't even, Brad, that's exactly spot on. These are getting scanned at the final destination hub, and they're being marked delivered because they reached the final destination for this specific tracking. I don't know how that explains. Oh, I bet I know how that explains. So Herman, what city or town was your package? Because Egan's still pretty far from Wisconsin. But that's probably the closest hub. If you were sending your package to like the Wisconsin Minnesota border on the far west side of the state of Wisconsin, it's going to go through Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is where Egan is. So I bet that's where the last hub with these scanners is located. I bet it was scanned at the final hub, and then it was, put on a truck to the next, like regional hub, but just doesn't have these scanners, or put on, to the truck that, the mail truck that delivers them to the actual post offices. So I bet that's exactly it. So it hurts your statistics. No, it won't. It will not hurt your stats, because it'll be closed in your favor. You won't be dinged if a claim is opened up and you respond within the time period, and basically issue the refund. You're not dinged on statistics. You're not dinged on the eBay metrics in doing so. Oh, George has some stuff. Awesome. Through Kin. Sweet. I like it. Thank you. I've got another Cardinals pile ready for you. Let's see. Herman. See, Herman's coming around. I like it. Herman's coming around on managed payments. That's exactly where I was at. I was kicking and dragging. Herman, the way that you were looking at managed payments going into it is exactly how I felt going into managed payments myself. Like the month, 2 months leading into, like, hey, this is the deadline, I dragged my feet up until like a couple days before I had to switch. I made the switch a couple days ahead, just in case something didn't happen to where there was a glitch and they took all my sales down or cut my selling off. So that's exactly my thought. You hated losing micropayments. I did too. And this is going to be, the savings is going to be, it's so gray, because it's going to depend on, what's your inventory, what, there's so many, how much are you selling? It's just going to be, obviously the more you sell, the more you're going to save within trading card category, and in most other categories. There's only a few other categories that have like a high, you're not saving on the percentages, like maybe one or two categories. But I've had like more sales, like I have a ton of 99-cent sales or $1.98 sales, or more sales. Like I have a ton of 99-cent sales or $1.98 sales, or less than the break-even point on micropayments was like $12.63. So I had a lot of sales, but again, it's even with micropayments, if you looked at it on a transactional basis, it was, a huge savings per transaction, but built up over time. And when you add in like, say you had a few sales of $20 or $100, all of a sudden it starts to bring that down. And so my disparity between micropayments fees and managed payment fees was like much different than I had anticipated. But I had a lot of bulk sales in my favor to kind of, get those numbers, back down. And in the end, I was actually saving a little bit of money on, quite a bit of money just based on volume on managed payments, somewhere around like $150 a month. But again, that's on, a couple thousand sales per month. So Zach says, I've kept up my resolution on more trades via trading card database, up to 15. Wow. That's probably more trades. I still haven't opened my packages that have come in the last week. I think I have 6 sitting down. My trade numbers are way down, and I'm just not, I can't focus. I'm really focusing on eBay sales, which was my goal going into 2021. That's 2020. So my total trades, 15, I'm at like 21 total trades altogether. But that was kind of because I really want to focus on the eBay store in the winter doldrums, and we're still in amid the pandemic. So Dak T-Mac fan, that's a great question. So the standard envelope fees for your shipping don't come out like they would on bubble mailer shipments. This is another thing that we still don't know. Is the post office going to ding us? Say I sent, a package that was, right at 1/4 of an inch thick. Are they going to ding me? Because there were a couple envelopes that I sent out that had like 8 cards, and they were just under 1/4 of an inch. But is the post office going to ding me? And the post office there's no, everything within USPS is ambiguous. That's the word of the day, ambiguous, because the post office is ambiguous. So, for example, Zach on one of my eBay shipments had a postage due this week of 39 cents, which, I'm doing the math, doesn't add up, because there was 55 cents worth of postage on his envelope. And so 39 cents would make it what, like 94 cents? I can't remember the math, but the math didn't add up, because the extra ounce for non-machinable is like 70 cents, and it may have risen to 75 cents. I can't remember if that was part of the new, but it wasn't like 94 cents or whatever. So I think the clerk probably just looked at the stamps and didn't do the math correctly, or only counted. And the funny thing is, they were only 8-cent stamps. So it's like they put or they only like added, they only saw 2 8-cent stamps, and because I think there was 8 of, or 8, 9, 10, 9. No, what's 9 and 8? 9 and 8 is 56. Like doing math in my head. So yeah, so like nothing with the post office. You can go to the post office, and this is back in the day when I was in Illinois, and we're talking 15 years ago. I would go to my local post office, and there were like 2 clerks that would, and this is like early on tracking. So at that time, I think you had to pay extra for tracking. So I would take my bubble. So this is when, like, now you go to the post office and you can send like a small bubble mailer, like one of these. Like, you can get away with sending those like a non-machinable stamp. Like, you can send one of these if it's not too 70 cents. And so, but you want the bubble mailer, because that's just stamps with no tracking. But back then you didn't really care about the tracking, because it wasn't like common. So we had 2 clerks that would charge the I don't know, like 80-cent rate, 70-cent rate for a bubble mailer. But then there were 2 others that they're like, oh, nope, they were like strict. This is package rate. This is, I don't know, $1.50 at the time. So there was like a difference between clerks at the same exact post office. And that's, some people say I can't send PWE because they ding me for non-machinable or package rate. And I understand. When I opened my post office box, which it increased crazy, I just got my bill. It's usually like $250 a year. Now it's $350. That's a huge increase. That sucks. But anyway, I digress. When I first opened my post office box, I'm like, oh, I'll just take all my PWE and drop them off at the post office instead of putting them in the mailbox in my driveway. I dropped them off, and guess what? Like, I dropped like 5 off, and all 5 came back, not enough postage due. So what I did, took them home, put a stamp on or whatever, put them in my mailbox, and all the rest, no other issues. The only issue I've ever had was when I dropped those envelopes off at the post office. And in my post office, they're like really strict with these things. So I don't drop any of my PWEs off at that post office. I'll dump them in a blue box or leave them in my mailbox. Thousands and thousands and thousands with no issues, except, sorry, Zach, for the 39 cents. I'll throw in a couple bows next time for you. I had to fork over that coin to get my order. Porter didn't eat that day. Sorry, Porter. So the 1 ounce stamp went from 15 to 20. Okay, so that's still, yeah, the math still doesn't add up on that 39 cents. Sounds like customs over here. I get a package delivered. They charge me a double shipping charge because they had to open and inspect it. Yeah, I agree. Some of the clerks are just drill sergeants when it comes to these things. Yeah, and we had so where I lived in Macomb, a bigger city for the area. It was like 20,000, so they had multiple clerks. And so a friend of mine, he taught in a neighboring school district, a small town, like 3,000, and he would go to that town's post office because kind of with my bubble mailer, they would only charge him, the 70-cent rate or 75-cent rate, opposed to if he went to the larger post office, he'd get a clerk. Or there was like one guy, I think his name was Jerry, big tall guy. He was like the drill sergeant, where like by the book, which I guess is good. But the others were a little more lenient. So if Jerry's working the counter, it's like, oh, I'll just come back. He's probably going to take lunch in a half an hour. I'll come back in 30 minutes and avoid Jerry. Jenny, what's up? Good morning. Want USPS to rate packages like the airlines rate a carry-on, right? It is. It's a huge, that's exactly what it is. It's just like, oh, this person working the gate is going to let this carry on through, and this person's going to be a drill sergeant. And nope, sorry. You got to take something out. Like my, when I went to spring training, I took like 50 baseballs, and I had them in my bag, in my suitcase that I was, putting on the plane, under the plane. And it's like 50 pounds, I think. So I mean, fortunately I'm in Madison, our airport's small. So I'm in a smaller airport. So I had, fortunately, A, time, but B, there's not, a huge line behind me. So the lady working for the airlines is like, well, is there anything you can take out? Because like the upcharge is like $100. I think it was like $80, because I was like 5 pounds overweight on the suitcase. So we weigh, I'm like, oh, I've got a bunch of baseballs in here. I'm going to spring training. So I took out, and there were, so we weighed the baseballs. So she let me use the scale to weigh like the items inside my suitcase. So 3 baseballs weigh a pound. And, so I took out what, I was 5 pounds over. So I took out like 15 or 16 baseballs, and then put those in my carry-on bag, and weighed it again. And we got, just under, 49.9 pounds or whatever, and avoided the $80 upcharge on being overweight. So, yeah. So Jenny says, wish I would have joined earlier today, trying to catch up on, we're just talking PWE. So, Jenny, if you go back and listen, I know you've taught me a lot with the post office and shipping and stuff. So, if you do go back and listen, drop some comments on anything you hear that may be correct or incorrect. That'd be awesome. So I've got to get running though. Knock on wood, but if you did something in your internet, it worked. Best broadcast in a long time. Crisp and no glitches. Well, thank you. I did not do anything. It's just maybe the sunshine or the snow is not blocking the Wi-Fi or whatever. So that's all I had for today. This is a long one, and we went almost 30 minutes without glitches. Awesome. I'll try not to like move anything in this room, and hopefully we'll work again tomorrow. So thanks so much. 1millioncubs.com, the website, Twitter at 1millioncubs, 99centcards.com, the eBay store. Thanks for watching. Check out the Texas Card Dude channel, because he's going live in a couple minutes. No jinxing. Yeah, that's right. So so Dak T-Mac Fane. Oh, so right before I go, tomorrow I'm going to write it down on my board, labels. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.